Most people do not fail in one dramatic moment. They fail slowly. They fail quietly. They fail by drifting. They wake up one day, years older, carrying the same dreams, the same hopes, the same excuses, and the same question: where did all the time go? They were busy. They were working. They were trying. They were surviving. They were moving every day. But they were not moving toward a clear destination. And that is one of the greatest tragedies of life. A person can spend years moving and still go nowhere. A person can work hard and still build nothing meaningful. A person can be tired every night and still feel empty inside. Why? Because movement is not the same as progress. Progress requires direction. Now imagine 100 people starting today. All of them want a better future. All of them believe they have more inside them. All of them say they want to rise higher than ordinary living, but years later, most of them will not be much closer to the life they once described. A few will become financially independent. A smaller number will become wealthy. But the majority will still be talking about plans they never executed, skills they never developed, risks they never took, and dreams they postponed until they no longer felt alive. That is not bad luck. That is a pattern. A person does not drift once and lose everything. A person drifts every day in small ways until drifting becomes the system of his life. He wakes up without a clear aim. He reacts to whatever appears first. He lets other people decide what deserves his attention. He gives his best hours to noise and his leftover energy to his own future. Then he wonders why life feels heavy, repetitive, and unfair. But life is not confused. Life keeps returning the results of the person he is practicing to become. This is the part most people do not want to hear. Every day you are rehearsing an identity. When you repeat fear, you are rehearsing a fearful identity. When you repeat excuses, you are rehearsing an excuse-making identity. When you repeat discipline, you are rehearsing a disciplined identity. When you repeat clear thinking, you are rehearsing the mind of a person who can create clear results. Success does not begin when money arrives. Success begins when your thinking stops serving your old limits. That is why the 5% are not simply people with better opportunities. They are people who use their minds differently before the opportunities appear. They think before they copy. They choose before they react. They study before they complain. They build before they ask for reward. They understand that the mind is not a storage place for worry. It is a tool for direction, design, decision, and creation. Most people have this tool, but they never take command of it. They let fear use it. They let comparison use it. They let the crowd use it. They let old memories use it. Then they say they do not know why they cannot move forward. But the answer is often simple. Their mind has been employed by the wrong master. A person who thinks like the crowd should not be surprised when he gets crowd-level results. The crowd waits. The crowd complains. The crowd wants change without changing. The crowd wants reward before value. The crowd wants confidence before action. The crowd wants the guarantee before the work. But the 5% understand that life rarely gives guarantees in advance. Life gives evidence after commitment. You begin, then you learn. You serve, then you earn. You practice, then you improve. You think differently, then you start seeing possibilities that the old version of you could not see. This is why Nightingale warned that the opposite of courage is conformity. That line is dangerous because it exposes a hidden weakness in ordinary living. Most people do not think they are conforming. They think they are being realistic. They think they are being practical. They think they are being safe. But many times what they call realistic is only the fear of standing apart. They lower the goal because the crowd does not understand it. They hide ambition because average people mock ambition. They delay action because they do not want to be judged while still learning. They make their life small enough that nobody can criticize it. Then they call that maturity. But maturity is not the death of ambition. Maturity is the discipline to build ambition into something useful. The 5% are not loud about their difference. They are consistent about it. They do not need the crowd to understand the early stage. They do not need applause for every hour of work. They do not need motivation every morning. They have chosen a direction, and direction gives strength to ordinary days. Without direction, even hard work can become wasted motion. A person can be busy for 10 years and still be standing in the same place. He can answer messages, attend meetings, run errands, pay bills, solve problems, feel tired every night, and still never build the future he claims to want. Why? Because movement is not progress. Activity is not achievement. Effort without aim is only exhaustion. This is why Nightingale defined success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. That definition removes confusion. Success is not simply having more money than another person. Success is not pretending to be important. Success is not looking busy in front of people who are also lost. Success is progress towards something worth becoming. The teacher becoming excellent is successful. The student building useful skill is successful. The employee becoming more valuable is successful. The father improving his family is successful. The person rebuilding after failure is successful. The person who has chosen a clear aim and is moving toward it with discipline is already in the process of success. That is why you must stop asking only, "What do I want?" Wanting is easy. The better question is, what am I willing to become to receive it? A weak identity cannot carry a strong future. A scattered mind cannot produce focused results. An undisciplined routine cannot build a disciplined life. A person who wants to rise must stop protecting the version of himself that keeps him low. This is where many people lose the battle. They want the prize, but they do not want the price. They want the harvest, but they do not want the planting. They want the respect, but they do not want the responsibility. They want the reward, but they do not want to become more useful. Nightingale taught that our rewards in life will always match our service. That is one of the cleanest laws of achievement. If you want more, become more useful. If you want more income, solve a better problem. If you want more respect, develop stronger character. If you want more opportunity, become prepared enough that opportunity makes sense in your hands. The world does not owe a person reward because he is tired. The world responds to value. This is not cruel. It is freeing. Because value can be built. Skill can be built. Discipline can be built. Judgment can be built. Service can be improved. Thinking can be trained. A person is not trapped by where he begins, if he is willing to become better than his beginning. But he must stop wasting his mind on the wrong material. Think about how most people spend their mental energy. They replay criticism. They imagine failure. They compare their private struggle to another person's public success. They create excuses that sound intelligent enough to protect them from action. They worry about things they will not control and ignore the few things they can control. Then they say their life is not changing. But the mind is like soil. It does not argue with the seed. It grows what is planted. Plant fear every day and fear grows roots. Plant resentment every day and resentment becomes a habit. Plant excuses every day and excuses begin to sound like truth. Plant a clear goal, repeated thought, useful work and disciplined action, and a different life begins to form. That is the real meaning of becoming what you think about. It is not magic. It is mental cause and effect. Your repeated thoughts choose your attention. Your attention chooses your actions. Your actions create evidence. Your evidence strengthens your belief. Your belief shapes your identity, and your identity decides what kind of life feels normal to you. The 95% let normal be assigned to them. The 5% redesign what normal means. For the 95%, normal is distraction. Normal is complaining. Normal is waiting. Normal is doing only enough to stay where they are. For the 5%, normal becomes thinking clearly, writing goals, learning daily, serving better, solving problems, and returning to the work after emotion fades. That last part matters. Emotion fades. Excitement fades. A new idea feels powerful on the first day. A goal feels inspiring when it is fresh. But the real test begins when the goal becomes work. That is where the crowd disappears. The crowd loves the dream but avoids the system. The crowd loves the result but dislikes repetition. The crowd loves the story of success, but not the daily schedule that success requires. The 5% keep going when the work becomes ordinary. They know that ordinary days, repeated with intention, produce extraordinary distance. A person does not become different by making one emotional decision. He becomes different by keeping one serious decision alive long enough to change his behavior. This is why a clear goal is not a decoration. It is a command. A real goal tells your mind what to search for. It tells your time what to protect. It tells your habits what to support. It tells your excuses they no longer have authority. Without a goal, every distraction can argue with you. With a goal, you have a standard. You can ask, does this move me forward or does this keep me the same? That question alone can change a life. Does this thought move me forward or keep me the same? Does this habit move me forward or keep me the same? Does this person move me forward or keep me the same? Does this use of time move me forward or keep me the same? Most people never ask these questions because they are afraid of the answers. They already know what is stealing their future. They already know which habits are weakening them. They already know which excuses are old. They already know what they have been avoiding. But knowing is not enough. A person can know the truth and still live against it. The 5% act on what they know before life forces them to. They become honest early. They stop pretending busyness is progress. They stop pretending delay is patience. They stop pretending comfort is peace. They stop pretending wishes are plans. They stop pretending someday is a strategy. Someday is where weak decisions go to hide. Today is where becoming begins. Not when conditions are perfect. Not when people understand. Not when confidence arrives. Not when fear disappears. Today, with the mind you have, the time you have, the skill you have, and the opportunity you can create from where you are. The door to the 5% is not locked. It is simply not automatic. It opens through decision, and it stays open through discipline. You do not enter it by saying you want success. You enter it by becoming the kind of person who can be trusted with success. Trusted with a goal. Trusted with time. Trusted with responsibility. Trusted with service. Trusted with persistence. Because persistence is where thinking proves itself. Anyone can think positively for a moment. Anyone can write a goal once. Anyone can feel inspired after hearing powerful words. But a person's future is not built by the thoughts he visits. It is built by the thoughts he lives with. When fear returns, what thought do you choose? When comparison attacks, what thought do you choose? When work becomes boring, what thought do you choose? When progress is slow, what thought do you choose? When the crowd calls you unrealistic, what thought do you choose? That is where the 5% separate themselves. They do not allow every emotion to become a command. They do not allow every doubt to become a decision. They do not allow every opinion to become a roadblock. They return to the goal. They return to service. They return to the work. They return to the person they have decided to become. So here is the challenge. For the next 30 days, choose one goal, not 10 goals. Not a vague wish like I want a better life. One goal clear enough that your mind can aim at it. Write it down. Read it when you wake up. Read it during the day. Read it before you sleep. Then ask yourself daily, what must I think? What must I learn? What must I do? And what must I become to move toward this? When fear says you cannot, return to the goal. When laziness says later, return to the goal. When comparison says you are behind, return to the goal. When confusion says there is no point, return to the goal. When the crowd says be normal, return to the goal. You are not doing this to escape reality. You are doing it to stop living under the reality created by your old thinking. A goal gives the mind direction. Direction gives behavior structure. Structure gives effort power. And repeated effort creates a new identity. That is the secret most people miss. A goal is not only something you get. A goal is something that trains you into someone new. The goal improves your attention. The work improves your discipline. The service improves your value. The persistence improves your character. And over time, the life outside begins to match the person inside. This is why the 95% drift and the 5% decide. The 95% ask life to change while they remain unchanged. The 5% change the cause and allow the effect to follow. The 95% wait to feel ready. The 5% become ready through action. The 95% protect excuses. The 5% protect standards. The 95% follow the familiar. The 5% follow the goal. And now the question comes back to you. What are you becoming? Not what do you want. Not what do you post. Not what do you admire. Not what do you promise when you feel emotional. What are you becoming through your thoughts today? What are you becoming through your habits today? What are you becoming through your use of time today? What are you becoming through your service today? What are you becoming through the problems you choose to solve and the excuses you choose to abandon? Because your future is not waiting somewhere far away. Your future is being manufactured by the person you are practicing to be right now. If you practice drifting, do not be surprised by an accidental life. If you practice fear, do not be surprised by small decisions. If you practice excuses, do not be surprised by repeated results. But if you practice clear thinking, disciplined action, useful service, and persistent effort, do not be surprised when your life begins to separate from the crowd, not loudly, not instantly, not magically, but steadily. That is how becoming works. The change is first invisible, then undeniable. First your thoughts change, then your decisions change, then your habits change, then your standards change, then your results change. And one day, people call it success as if it arrived suddenly. But you will know the truth. It was not sudden. It was built. It was thought into direction. It was worked into evidence. It was repeated into identity. It was paid for with service. It was protected with discipline. It was proven with persistence. So do not waste another year waiting for a new life while practicing the old one. Do not give your mind to fear and ask why courage never grows. Do not give your days to distraction and ask why progress never appears. Do not follow the crowd and ask why your life looks average. Choose one clear goal. Choose the thoughts that support it. Choose the habits that strengthen it. Choose the service that makes you valuable. Choose the discipline that keeps you moving when emotion is gone. Choose the identity that your future requires. You have a mind powerful enough to build a different life, but it must be directed. You have potential, but it must be developed. You have time, but it must be protected. You have a future, but it must be chosen. The 95% drift because drifting is easy. The 5% decide because decision is the beginning of power. Today, stop asking only what you want. Ask what you are becoming, then think accordingly. Act accordingly. Serve accordingly. Persist accordingly. Because you do not become what you casually desire. You become what you repeatedly think, repeatedly choose, and repeatedly do. The 95% drift. The 5% decide. Today, decide.